Yeah, the Christian music guys. Make some noise for the Christian music guys.
Today on the Christian Music Guys, we have a special guest. He is the man who brought Bart Millard to the big screen in the hit film I Can Only Imagine, and now he's back starring in I Can Only Imagine 2, out today in theaters. And of course, you know him from Les Mis. But we are talking about the incredibly talented John Michael Finley. After the breakout success of the original film, this new chapter reunites audiences with MercyMe frontman Bart in a powerful story about faith, fatherhood, and finding grace in the hardest seasons of life. John, thank you so much for chatting with me, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So before we get into the sequel, let's go back to the first movie. How did you initially hear about Bart's story, about the whole thing, and what drew you to doing the part?
Yeah, I grew up in the Bible Belt in the Ozarks, son of a Southern Baptist preacher. So I'm certainly familiar with the culture and the vernacular and the language, and this kind of. Also, growing up in the '90s and early 2000s, when grunge Christian rap was at its peak, if you will, was such a pivotal time in my life. Flash forward, 10 years, I'm in New York City doing my first Broadway show, a dream come true. Doing Les Mis, and I'm covering Jean Valjean. I did over like 100 performances of Jean Valjean in the first year. It was another dream come true. And my agent sent me a breakdown for a film called I Can Only Imagine. And I thought, well, if it has anything to do with a song, then I know of at least one group of people that will enjoy this film. And I was familiar with the song. I was at church camp when I was 13 years old. The album Almost There, which features I Can Only Imagine, was the first mainstream. I think their first studio album. They had some independent albums. And so I remember reading the script and thinking, holy cow, if people find out the true story behind this song, they're going to lose their minds. I think like everyone else, I thought, well, he's singing about God, he's singing about Jesus, and, what will it be like when we get to heaven? I think we've all thought about that. And, growing up in church certainly was many a conversation had. And to suddenly realize that he's really singing about his earthly father, and he's singing about that reunion, and because of the horrible, horrible trauma that happened here on earth. And so I was blown away, and before I was even cast, I was convinced it was going to be a smash hit, just because of the culture that I grew up in, and I was like, people are going to love this story. And it's easy for me to say that now in hindsight, that it would be a hit. But I really had that kind of blind rookie confidence back then. I think everyone else was pulling their hair out and having panic attacks every other day. But I was like, I don't know, man. If we do what's on the page, people are going to like this. I like it, And so it was thrilling. It was thrilling.
And then, of course, Dennis Quaid. I'm like, I would be like, dude, do you know who you are? Like, I would be so
unbelievable. I remember we filmed 3/4 of the movie before we got Dennis. I mean, this was truly a ready, fire, aim type project, which a lot of independent projects are. And I remember we were doing a night shoot at this apartment complex in Oklahoma City where we shot the first film. And, if you've ever been on a film set, you don't just run around yelling, fucking, and screaming. You're going to ruin the take, and the actor's going to be upset, or the director's going to be upset. And someone was screaming and yelling at the top of their lungs, and someone made a cut. What's going on? And our producer had ran on set with his phone and said, "We got Quaid! We got Quaid!" And that was the moment we needed, because once again, we were 3/4 of the way into a tough, bare bones, independent project, that we certainly believed in, but we were looking for someone else to believe in us. And I think we sent Dennis a sizzle reel of just a couple moments that we had already shot. And thankfully, Dennis, man, I'm so grateful that he signed on. And whether he believed in us or not, I guess it doesn't matter. But he signed on to the project. And that was kind of the catalyst that we needed to catapult us to a different level. And Dennis was fantastic. And I think I met Dennis in character.
Mm.
I think I was laying in a hospital bed and someone said, Dennis is here and he's ready. So let's go. And I said, okay. So we did a scene together. Then after the scene, it was like, John, Dennis, nice to meet you. And so it was like jumping in, head first. But it was
Yeah.
a blast.
So fast forward to part 2. Tell one of the interviews floating online with you. You were talking about how Bart called you up and he said that we're about to pitch this to Lionsgate. Tell us about that, how that happened.
Yeah, Bart and I have become really close friends, really dear friends. He's a wonderful person, and all his kids, 5 kids, they all call me fake dad. You know what I mean? Like it's such a fun. And my son is 4 years old, and my son loves Bart. Like we'll send Bart videos. Like we'll do something silly. He'll be like, "Send that to Bart." And I was like, "Okay, bud, I'm gonna text Bart and send it to." So he's more in love with Bart, I think, than he is me. Bart texted me and said, "Hey, can you keep a secret?" And I was like, "No, like not me." And he's like, "No, seriously, I have something to tell you." I was like, "Okay, fine. If it's important, like I'll keep it a secret." And he said, "In a couple of days, we're going into Lionsgate for a pitch meeting for a sequel." And that was truly the first I had heard of it. The first film wraps everything up so nicely, and the song is a hit. And even in real life, I believe the day that Bart got his last insurance check from his father was the day that I can only imagine went, like triple platinum or something. It was a big day. And so I texted him the day of the pitch meeting for the sequel, and I said, "I'm with you in spirit. Let me know how it goes. Fingers crossed." And he texted me. He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, dude. We didn't get 3 minutes into the pitch, and they were like, obviously, 1,000% we're doing this." So apparently Lionsgate, liked what they were hearing, and I think they had a whole 45-minute PowerPoint presentation with hand puppets and sock puppets and stuff, and they're like, "No, we're good. We trust you guys." And that's what's been amazing. Lionsgate has fully entrusted the Irwins and Kingdom Story Company to say, "Hey, here's our checkbook, and here's a contract for 5 years. It's on us." I think they see value here, obviously in a business sense, but I think also in a human sense. They see value to these stories, and to have their support is incredible.
So, John, I saw the movie, obviously, and incredible acting on this one. You did amazing on the first one, but man, you don't know, this is going to sound terrible, but you really came off as an amazing jerk in this one. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just great. And I loved it. I love that side. You always look at cookie cutter Christian artists and no, they have a life, they have kids, and, they have things that happen. But when you came back to play Bart again, how was this season of his life different from the first film? And how did that change the way you approach the role? And again, I would say darker for sure.
Yeah, darker is the right word, man. Darker and heavier and vulnerable and raw. And I so appreciate you saying that. I've had a couple of people mention that. I mean, a couple of people that I'm close to, relatives, cousins, siblings, that would say, "Hey, man, I'm not dogging your performance in the first film, but wow, I can really see some growth." And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. The truth is, the first film was my first ever film. First time being on a film set, first time being in front of a camera. And I'm a big baseball guy. So, for me, it's like, okay, I was a rookie. I was batting eighth. I hit 220. My team went to the postseason, but it's not like I'm the MVP here. I'm just trying to hang on. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. And so I'm very, very proud of that performance in that film. But, it's been 10 years since we filmed the first one, and I've got a life experience on my bones. I became a husband. I became a father. I lost my mother along the way. We all, God bless us, went through the pandemic, and I think it came out different people. I think the country's a different place. I think the world's a different place. So it's only been about 10 years, but for me, it might as well have been 30 years, man. And I've struggled with mental health. I've struggled with spiritual health. I've struggled with physical health. Once again, I'm a dad now, so, things aren't as easy as they used to be. And as far as the storyline goes with Bart, it was perfect. In the first movie, I'm the grieving son and the lost son craving a relationship with a monstrous father, and we finally curate the relationship that we both desire. And just when things are starting to get good, you know, father passes away. And this time around, we flash forward 20 years into the future, and now I'm the father, and I have teenage children, and I'm struggling with mental health and physical health and spiritual health, and with my relationship with my wife, my children, struggling with the one-hit wonder aspect. Personally, I don't think it's a one-hit wonder. I love MercyMe and I love all their albums, but I can understand perhaps from an outside view. I Can Only Imagine was a big success, and what have they done since then? You know, and all real life stuff, all true story stuff. So when they told me they were doing a sequel, I was determined um, to push for something real, something raw, something vulnerable. I don't think anyone wanted to step into something fluffy. I don't think anyone wanted. We're certainly not doing it just to make some money or anything like that. And so there was some nervousness for a couple weeks, and when they finally sent me the first draft of the script, I was blown away. I immediately texted Bart and was just like, "Man, I love you so much, brother." There were things I didn't know he had gone through. You know, I thought I had, done all my research on Bart, and man, was I wrong. And so I'm here to tell you guys it's another beautiful true story. We introduced some new characters, and it is heavy and it is dark, and you'll still laugh and you'll still have a good time. But
Yeah.
what we didn't want to do was shy away from that. And I'm so proud that we came face to face with what I think everyone is struggling with right now. I think we're all having conversations about spiritual health, about mental health, about our physical health. You know, those are all kind of tied together in a whole eternity. And I'm proud that we're kind of talking about things that make people uncomfortable, things that faith-based film doesn't normally talk about.
Yeah.
But it's real and it's raw and it's vulnerable. I think people are going to get to it. I hope they do.
Side note, dude, Trace Adkins
So good, isn't he?
does so good with Scott, man, especially the whole book title
So
thing.
funny.
I laughed so hard. I was like,
You will
that
laugh, you
is
will laugh till you're in tears. Like, it is heavy and it is dark, but Trace is so funny in this, and we have some new, and adding Milo Ventimiglia and Sammy Dell. Like, there's some beautiful. If you enjoyed the first film, I promise you, we cater to you. But I think what we also did in an exceptional way is we let this film stand on its own, and we created a sequel that's, not just for fun. We created a continuation of a real story that needed to be told.
So my wife, hopefully she's not listening to this episode, but she watched the film with me and she goes, "Wait a minute, the guy playing Milo." She was like, "I thought he died." And I was like, "Died?" And she goes, "Yeah, the crock pot killed him." I said, "Honey, that was a fake show. We watched it. It's Hollywood." And she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh my gosh." So
We
it's
we
like,
were
no.
doing like social media stuff, because that's such a part of the package these days. Like, you're on set, you're in wardrobe, and there's influencers and social media people here, and they want to do little videos, and so they were bringing out props and stuff. And I was with Milo. I think it was around Father's Day, and we were doing like Father's Day jokes, dad jokes. And then someone brought out a crock pot to do like a bit, to do something funny, and Milo was like, "No, we can't do that." And at first they were kind of like, "Oh, haha, what do you mean?" He's like, "No, like, I think he has signed like NDAs. Like, I think there are legal ramifications.
Wow.
He cannot do stuff with the brand crock pot, with any type of slow cooker." So they were like, "We just want to do a funny parody video." And he's like, "No, I can't." And so it's a big deal. It's like, that would make people really upset. And so Milo is just fantastic, even better off screen than on screen, which is really, really hard to fathom. But he's a
That is
wonderful
so
human
funny.
being.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, John, when you are wrapping up an emotional scene, a really hard scene, part one and part two, what do you normally do? Do you normally like process it, or do you like just go do a joke, or like what is your process after doing something heavy?
Oh yeah. After, I don't have to do too much. I don't hold a lot of tension, and I don't get concerned about those types of scenes. I don't lose sleep over it. I show up that morning or that afternoon and I say, "Okay, here's what we have to do today." But it is a different type of preparation. It's a different game plan. I'm talking about, the moments before.
Mm.
As far as after, it's already such a natural release. that I don't have to do much. You know, it's not like it's a relief or a weight off my shoulders, but after doing a heavy emotional scene, um, yeah, I certainly turn right back to comedy, or I'll go to the snack. I'll go grab a Dr. Pepper or a sweet tea, or like, something to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Reset the palate, if you will.
Yeah.
But in some ways, you don't need to. Some ways, the celebration in itself is doing the scene
Yeah.
and being able to access those emotions in the right time, in the right way, and to be able to tell a story. It's thrilling and it's fulfilling. And so when I'm done, I'm not much of a method actor. I don't hang on to much, even in between takes, like I like to have a good time. I like to keep the atmosphere loose. But we certainly give the respect that it
Sure.
deserves when we do those heavy scenes, and especially having Bart and his family around. I don't want to give them the impression that I'm not taking this seriously. But truly, if you've ever done this or if you've ever been on a film set, you need those moments of release. And so we have a ton of fun. What it reminds me of is I've never done a horror film, but I imagine it's probably not very scary filming horror films.
Right.
It's probably really silly and really goofy. You see the man behind the curtain. The blood probably looks silly, and so sometimes even, and maybe that's the same with doing like intimate sexual scenes. Probably doing it in real life, there's nothing sexy about it. And sometimes doing a heavy emotional scene, there's actually nothing heavily emotional about it.
Hmm.
So it's not too difficult for me to kind of move on because I also know like I'm going to show up again tomorrow, the next day, the
Right.
next day. So I don't
Yeah.
hold on to it for too long, but finding that
Yeah.
place is certainly something that is fun to collaborate with.
Sure. Well, John, with first time guests, we like to do a thing, viewers and listeners like this. It's called favorite things. And so I'm just going to shoot you a word and you tell me your favorite thing in that category. Sound good?
Wonderful.
Do you have favorite food?
Man, anything that involves queso, I'm a sucker for. I could be full to the brim, and you bring out chips and queso, and I'm like, well, I gotta try it here.
Did you see what
Queso, man.
Wendy's announced today? They come up with a cheeseburger with queso on it.
Oh, Lord,
It's
I need
over
some
now.
discipline. Yeah, you should have told me that. Big Google and Wendy's.
It's funny.
That's a good one.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I'm gonna
So,
pick one out of the blue, but I love a dark comedy because it's so real. I love the movie. I think it's a Martin McDonagh film, In Bruges.
okay.
Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, phenomenal film. Really dark,
Yeah.
really heavy, really funny, phenomenal film.
Do you have a favorite show that you like to watch? This is
Okay,
us. No.
this is so dumb, man. You're asking like off the cuff. I love to cook. I love to hear people scream at other people. So right now it's Gordon Ramsay Kitchen
Yes.
Nightmares, where he
Oh,
goes around to like the worst restaurants and
yep.
just ruins them.
Love that show.
And then,
Dude,
I love it. I love
anything,
it.
I would love to meet him one day, but anything he does, I love Hell's Kitchen. I love
Yeah,
Kitchen Nightmares. He
yeah.
had one where it was like 24, where he went into it was called
Is it like Hotel Hell? He goes into
Secret Agent
hotels and
where he breaks into the restaurant in the middle of the night. I forgot the name
no.
of it. Yes. And
He's
he
such an
films in
emotional terrorist.
infrared. Yeah, he's amazing. But people have told me he's a teddy bear. Like he's only like that when he does these
I think it's a
shows.
personality. I think
Yeah.
now don't get me wrong, like there's truth in everything. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure when he was struggling as a young chef, and those kitchens are tough, it's no one's pulling any punches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's absolutely a caricature he puts on. His kids love him, his wife loves him. He seems like a sweetheart behind the
He
curtain.
does these videos where people send in, and I think they're just trying to get him to say something, but they're cooking the nastiest things,
Terrible
and
recipes.
he reacts to them. It's amazing.
Spaghetti Jello and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I love him. Love him. Yeah, he's so fun. It's good entertainment at the very least.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite musical artist of all time?
Favorite musical artist of all time.
MercyMe.
Yeah, besides Bartholomew Millard. Yeah, besides Bart. This one is a connection to my father and a connection to the past and a connection to some of the greatest songwriters in history, the Bee Gees. The
Mm,
Bee Gees, after the disco era, realized pretty quickly in the late 70s and 80s that their music was no longer palatable.
mm,
And instead of just giving up, they said, okay, we'll just continue to write music instead of performing. A lot of the hits from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s were actually written by the Bee Gees.
yeah.
A good example of that before that time was the song Grease from Grease. Grease is the word, have you
Yep.
heard? Frankie Valli sings it because Frankie Valli was the top vocalist, but written by the Bee Gees.
Mm,
Some Celine Dion songs, some other songs. The Bee Gees were humble enough to realize our disco era is over, but we're still some of the greatest songwriters. And the connection with my father to the Bee Gees, I love the Bee Gees.
nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream collab, someone that you would like to work with, acting, anybody like that?
I do. I have two, and I'll give them both to you. Saw Solo recently. I've been in love with Kevin James forever. We have a similar body type, similar sense of humor. I'd love to find a universe where like we're father and son or something, you know. So I'm hoping like through the
Mall Cop
Jonathan
Part
Rooney
3.
connection, yeah, the King of Queens son, like a reboot. But the other one is, you know, I've had the pleasure of working with Dennis Quaid, but the first time I saw Jack Quaid on screen, I was like, who is this guy? What is he doing? I've been transfixed by Jack Quaid, and I haven't got to meet him yet. Would love to work with him. Would love to do like a buddy cop movie or something with him.
Yeah,
But those are two off the top of my head.
sure. Do you have a favorite ice cream flavor?
Strawberry, but like natural, no fake flavors, like strawberry all the way.
Yeah. Have you ever had the Jenny's brand? Strawberry?
Yes, yeah. Is that like
Yeah.
the French brand? No,
I don't know.
if there's
It's
some
everywhere in Nashville. I know that. So,
good stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
hard to find ice cream I don't like.
Is there a favorite podcast or audiobook that you listen to?
Yes. So for me, it's Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I'm not like a religious Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know, everything he says is the way, the truth, and the light. But I love astrophysics. I'm a dummy, and they make it palatable for dummies like me. I love astrophysics. I love talking about space and the planets and the origins of what we can observe. And Neil deGrasse Tyson and Chuck Nice, who's a comedian, really balance out the podcast in a nice way and make it palatable for the layman. I love learning. I'm still curious about a lot of things, and that's my favorite go-to podcast.
Yeah. Well, John, Imagine 2 is out today. What else is next for you, and how can our viewers and listeners keep up with you?
Man, you can check me out on Instagram. I try to keep everyone updated, post some videos and some stuff here and there. Nothing really in the future right now, which in some ways is a good thing. You know, I've been grinding recently. I'm a father, man. I'm mostly a stay-at-home dad when I'm in Nashville being Bart Millard. So that's always the next project for me is, you know, like, go pick up my kid and get him from school and keep him safe and happy and alive. And that's enough of a challenge in itself. But looking forward to some more film opportunities. I've had the pleasure of doing a few Broadway shows, and that's my dream, and that's home for me. But I sure caught the bug, man, with this movie stuff. And I've done a
Sure.
handful of movies since the first I Can Only Imagine, and really enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to potentially some more collaboration.
Did you ask Bart if there's another song in there they could do a movie about 5 more years
I
from
was
now?
like, come on, Bart. Did like anybody else in your life die? Anybody else beat you when you were a kid? Like, there's got to be something. We're
Let me
just
slash your
capitalizing
tires
on
and you
this
can write a
man's
song about it.
poor. I know it's. Well, we're already thinking about the trilogy in space. You know, like how can we? You know, 1,000 years into the future, Bart has frozen his DNA, and you know, yeah, man,
It's funny.
we just have so much fun. He's really good, a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, John, to wrap up, I'd like to see if you'd be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life recently that would help build our viewers and listeners' faith.
Well, I can tell you this has been therapeutic for me. You said you've seen the film, right? The sequel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lot of it is balancing grief and gratitude. And I call these guys my older brothers. You know, they're all about 10, 15 years older than me. And I'm talking about like Bart and the band and the producers and directors. A lot of people involved are pouring their heart out into this because of trials and tribulations they've faced. I'm kind of like currently going through those trials and tribulations. You know, I'm not saying these guys are on the other side looking back fondly, but I think they have a better handle on kind of the squeeze of life, with young kids and stuff like that. And there were times on set where I was like, man, if I hear someone say the word grateful one more time, I just like, I cannot listen to this again and again and again. And I think it's because I'm in a raw place where like I'm finding a lot of the grief and the gratitude is hard to find. And so it has been so encouraging for me, to answer your question, to see my big brothers go through this, to use this film as selfishly, honestly, as my own therapeutic way of trying to find more gratitude. And I think the fault is waiting for the storm to pass to find peace. I think if we wait for grief to go away to find gratitude, we're going to be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to learn how to hold grief and gratitude and that balance, that tension, that yin yang. Maybe it's the same thing we've been talking about for hundreds and thousands of years, is that balance of life. Because it's hard, man. It's easy to find the grief, but how do we use that to find gratitude?
Right.
Softening up to the idea of gratitude.
Well, that was an amazing gratitude statement there. No,
Sure. I know.
No,
I'll
John,
be
thank
grateful
you
if
so
I can
much.
find some gratitude.
Yeah, for chatting with me. I can only imagine 2 is out now. Please go buy tickets. Let's make this successful because we need more movies like this. So thank you so much, man.
Yeah. And it's not just a money grab for us. Trust me. Like this is a situation where if you want to see more content like this, you can rent it the DVD at home. You can watch it on demand. But like going to the cinema to see this lets Lionsgate and Hollywood know that like there's a demand here. And I do think there is. And so if you're willing and able and you can, try to make it a point sometime this weekend or next weekend to go see it.
Yeah. Dad, what's a DVD?
Yeah. What does DVD stand for?
They're the Christian music guys. Yeah, the Christian music guys.